Well, here's something new. We are in Puerto Rico and we are in a Tier 10 7 versus 7 brawl. And so we have on our side, we have 1 DD, 3 cruisers, and 3 battleships. The other team also has 1 DD, 3 cruisers, and 3 battleships. However, in these brawls, these could be mixed together any way the matchmaking happens to mix them together. We have had one, in fact, the one before this, where we had 3 DDs on our side, only 1 battleship. The other team had 3 battleships, and the rest of them were cruisers, no DDs. Unfortunately, they were radar cruisers, and we didn't end up coming out of that one too well. Okay, well, all of these have also been this battle type where you have to go pick up the buffs. You're not capping, you're going and getting the buffs. They're forcing us into a brawling situation. So whenever I spawn closest to this chain of islands, this arc of islands, I go around on the other side so that I can kind of isolate whomever from the other team comes over to this side from the rest of their team. And in a couple of the brawls where I've seen this particular map, I found myself one-on-one versus a cruiser or against a DD, and that worked out pretty well in my favor. On the other hand, I found myself up against a smoking, fire-breathing cruiser with a battleship, the Ohio, and it just so happens that Vermont, Ohio, and Incomparable are 3 of the only ships that are capable of citadeling Puerto Rico. The other ship being the Yamato and Shikishima. But Puerto Rico is a very tough ship, very hard to citadel. Speaking of Vermont, that's who wants to be shooting at me right now. So let's see if I can turn out and dodge a little bit successfully there, because Vermont's shells hit really, really hard. They're like 18-inch shells. Oh, dang, somebody bonked one of my guns. Imagine that. Okay, well, there was the Rigolo.
Problem solved, sir.
Italian DD. The Italian DDs love to smoke up and rush at you and torp you from close range, but with a hydro and my radar, that's not likely going to happen here. However, he did get torps away, so let's see if we can get in between them. I'm not currently detected, so he's hiding in his smoke.
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
Okay, let's not oversteer. Oh, thought I had them dodged, but Puerto Ricos are not extremely maneuverable, not extremely fast. They're adequate, but their main claim to fame is the ability to throw out big shells and take damage with the big boys. Trying to hit that Venezia, who is hurting right now. I'd like to keep Venezia hurting. Ricochet, huh? Okay, well, hiding in the smoke, but I might tag him. Yeah, I did. Citadel and a kill. All right. Interesting that our Mecklenburg is complaining. I'm not sure who he's complaining about.
Torpedoes astern.
In brawls, you get all sorts. Okay, Vermont. Now, Puerto Rico guns are perfectly capable of citadeling a battleship. 4 pins, 5 over pins, so I took a chunk off of him. Smolensk, on the other hand, I could wipe out in one good shot, but he's pretty dodgy. And really right now, I'm more worried about that Rigolo. But I have my radar ready. There it is. I'm switched over to HE, so we'll see if I can get him here. There we go. Might have shot underneath him there. But not on those two. There we go. Tagged him a good one. Now get on up here. Make sure he isn't throwing torps out at me. Alright, Ohio's going to go down anyway. I might be able to help him. Not quite. Somebody else got him. Alright, what's Rigolo up to here now? Oh, there we go. He kind of got himself stuck there, seems like. Alright, now if I can get him with one more shot, I'll finish the job on him. He's turnover, I can get to him. There we go. This'll get him. Yeah. Okay, Vermont's shooting at me again. Yeah, that took a bit off me, but I've got a heal ready. Still throwing HE at him. Might light a fire on him, but that's what I had loaded.
Our team has taken the lead.
Okay, now switching to AP in case I see a broadside there or see Smolensk. Maybe I can do something with them. Okay, another big salvo missed. Vermont has 40-second reloads, so for him to be wasting those is unfortunate for him. Good thing for me. Alright, let's see. What do we have here? Well, Vermont's down, so let's see what I can do with Smolensk. Alright. Well, those are looking pretty good. Look at how they grouped. Oh, there. Whew. Cleaned his clock. Well, that was short, sweet, and lots of fun. Ended up with 88, almost 89,000 in damage. 62 shells hit targets, of which 53 of them did actual damage. Got 3 kills, lit 3 fires, 4 hits on citadels. Even had one of my secondaries hit something. Probably that DD. And ended up top of the leaderboard with 1,345 base XP. Not really that high, but it was a very fast battle. Not that much time to build any up. Okay, so took over 1 million in potential damage. So there were quite a few shells being fired at me, mostly by Vermont. Those kinds of things, when they come close but don't actually hit you, if you uh, spot them or if they ricochet or anything, then that counts as potential damage. It's an indicator of how active you were in the battle, and I certainly was. And brought in 267,000 in credits, added almost 1,200 in free XP to the kitty. This 4,440 does nothing for me since Puerto Rico is a tier 10 and a premium ship. She can't use any of the ship XP the way other lower tier ships can when you're trying to go up the tech tree. Anyway, brought in 4,707 Elite Commander XP, so that is something I can share with my other captains. And I am using Bull Halsey on Puerto Rico, and so I have greased the gears to help get those guns on target. I can dodge a little bit. Puerto Rico isn't a real dodgy cruiser, but you don't want her out turning your turrets as any worse than possible. And then I can shift shell types when I need to. And then I have last stand. So it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while I suppose a torp might knock out my engines or something, or my steering. Then I run Demolition Expert, so when I do run HE, then I can light those fires. I have consumable enhancements to extend the amount of time that my radar and my hydro are running. I have Superintendent to give me an extra dose of hydro and radar and a heal. And then I have Survivability Expert to give me even more HP. Puerto Rico is a very tanky cruiser, but that extra HP helps, especially if I'm getting lit on fire a lot. As I do on all of my DDs and cruisers, I'm running radio location. It is really nice to know which direction the ships are in. Even without my radar or hydro, it gives me a strong indication of where the danger is. And then I have Concealment Expert to bring me down a little bit more in my concealment, which is still not great. I am still at 13K, but I would be almost more visible than a lot of the battleships are if I was not running that one. And then I have main armaments mod 1, even though a couple of times I've had my guns knocked out tonight. That was just temporary. I do run the enhanced surveillance radar. It gives me an additional 20% active time on there. So along with that captain skill, that really helps a lot to have that radar up as long as it can be. And then I have aiming systems mod 1 to help our guns hit what they're aiming at. And it's, I think, a really valuable skill to have on battleships and heavy cruisers especially that don't have a fast firing rate, so you definitely want to hit what you're aiming at. I'm running propulsion mod 1. I could have gone with damage control systems or steering gears, but I find that sometimes I am hanging around islands and I want to be able to dodge back and forth, and then other times I am out doing a little bit of open water, not really gunboating, but firing from open areas, and then I can use throttle juking to try to avoid shells. The damage control system mod 2 would be nice too, because one thing about Puerto Rico, when she gets lit on fire, she burns for as much time as a battleship does. And That's the same thing that happens to some of the other heavy cruisers. Might change that out sometime. Anyway, I am also running Concealment Systems Mod 1. That brings my detection down a little bit more. So without that and the captain skill, like I was saying, I'd be detected out further than some of my battleships. And then the last thing I have is my main battery mod 3, which increases my reload or decreases my reload time. It does increase my main battery traverse speed, but I kind of make that up with the captain skill, the greased gears. My other choice on that would be to increase my main battery firing range, but I feel pretty comfortable with where I am shooting from at this point in time, and it's something that I could consider changing if I ever felt like I was outranged. But most of the ships that are the enemy that I'm hunting are within my range. I'm not usually going up against a battleship, at least not solo. A lot of times I am going up against a cruiser or a DD though. All right, so let's take a look at her. So Puerto Rico, she was a dockyard ship, meaning that I got her by grinding through a whole bunch of tasks and then paying out a few doubloons that I had saved up. But she's such a powerful cruiser. She's built a lot like a battleship. She's got a really strong armor scheme with those two turrets, 3 barrels each up forward, and the two turrets back aft. She's outfitted a lot like the battleships are also. And she's got a reasonable firing rate for a heavy cruiser. I'm getting 19.4 on her, although there are some of the heavy cruisers that are a little bit faster. If you get down to 14 or 15 seconds on the reload. But I don't mind that one, and it's not too bad after being on some of the battleships that are running 30-second reloads. And these shells, when they hit something, they hit hard. So I'm at about 18.8 on my main battery firing range, and so that is something that if I were to want to change that setting on my equipment, slowing down my firing rate though, so that'd put me over 20 seconds if I slowed that down, and gives me an extra 16% on that range on 18.8, so it'd give me around 21, getting close to 21, not quite. But sitting and waiting for an extra almost 2 seconds for my guns to fire, I just can't see that. I don't really fight from range as much as maybe if I were a battleship, I might be looking at that. But no, I am more like a pocket battleship. All right, so we'll keep her as is. All right, well, that is Puerto Rico battle in a brawl. A lot of fun. And I happen to be in the port of Marseille, kind of enjoying the French coast here, and very pretty area. Haven't been to that part of France yet myself. Be interested to go visiting there someday. Okay, well, uh, I'm gonna call that one and maybe try to get into another couple of brawls tonight. Those were fun. Have a good evening.